Hi, welcome back. I appreciate you clicking on today's video. Obviously, this is not an orchid. This is Winter. She is one of our supervisors here in the Trish's Orchid Life world. However, she is an old girl. She is, I believe, 11 years old. We got her back in 2014 for my daughter, and her little hind legs no longer work like they used to, so she can't go down the stairs. And it makes her sad because there's food down there. But let's get on with the orchids. So let's start with the first orchid that I did purchase back in September from the Orchid Supply Store. This is the Posturette Classic, I believe is what it's called. And when I first got it, this leaf right here was just starting. And initially when I repotted her into this net basket that you can get from the Orchid Supply Store, I'll leave the link below. And she had just the large orchid vanda bark, and I was having to water her quite often, like every day. And to avoid that, I took her out, and I don't know if you can see it, there's some, but I've added a little bit of moss into the center of it to keep it damp a little bit longer. And these clips, also from the Orchid Supply Store, but I stole this idea from Patricia. She said that she likes to use these to decorate pots and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So if you see these around, that's where I stole that from. So thank you, Patricia, for the idea. Now, she doesn't show any new root growth, but that leaf is continuing to grow. And she does hang again in front of this east-facing window that, even though it doesn't look real bright right now, it is rather bright, because when you first walk in the door, it looks kind of dark over here. And the closer you get, it's like, whoa, very bright. And then the other vanda that I got from Orchid Supply is this one here, if I can not knock over anything else. And I would pull the tag out, but when I potted it up, I wired it in. And it is the Vanda Summerside Pink crossed with Coolvade fragrance. I probably chopped that up really well. But there is her tag. And again, she was growing this leaf here, and it is continuing to extend and grow. And then the one down here, because there's actually two in here, and I believe one is a keiki of the other, had absorbed one of the leaves that I have taken off, hoping that maybe there's some root growth come off of there. Now she's also in the large vanda bark mix with moss. And her moss is a little bit heavier because it's a bigger pot and I want it to stay damp a little bit longer. Over here, I have my Latoria type. It is the Dendrobium Silver Wings crossed with Nidia Spots Pink Latoriate. And I had her on the other side over here in this area, but I was thinking that maybe the lighting wasn't as bright as it needed to be. So I moved my Dendrobium phalaenopsis over here and moved Silver Wings over here where she gets a little bit better lighting. Not only from the window, but also from the light above. And we just recently looked at the phalaenopsis. Now the Latoria, the two vandas I did purchase back in September, and then in October I received this phalaenopsis from Ken over at the Orchid Supply Store. And as I was showing you guys previously, she came with that spike right there, but I believe the cool temperature change, probably she aborted that. And then she did start this leaf. Shortly thereafter, she started a spike. So I will let her spike out just so I can see what she looks like, because it did not come with a tag. And then I will probably cut the spike so that she can continue on some vegetative growth. And as you can see, they also sell opaque pots. So not just the clear pots, but also the opaque pots with slots and without. Again, if you want to get your 12% discount, go to orchidsupplystore.com. And I will link that down in the description below, along with some of the products that I have been using and enjoying very much. Use coupon code TRISH at checkout and get 12% off everything. Go look at their orchids. They have some beautiful orchids. There's some cattleyas that I've got on my on my wish list that I want to get next year. And speaking of those Cattleyas, this one is, let me pull it out here. And if I sound a little out of breath, I am. I have a really, really bad sinus infection that's gotten in my chest, and it's really hard for me to breathe, especially if I'm talking a lot. But this is the, let's see if we can get it into focus. Maybe. There it is. The Elsie Aussie Sunset Cosmic Fire crossed with Elsie Spring Fire, Lynette #1. And she is still in her original setup that I received her in. So she is in some large bark here. And you can see there's some roots going down in the pot. But I am waiting for some new root growth before I repot her. And why do you say, are you waiting for a new root growth? Well, do you see? She's got 2 bifoliate growths. She's got 1 unifoliate growth. So I'm going off of this. And for those of us who grow those lovely bifoliate Cattleyas, they are very finicky about repots. So I'm just waiting for her to push out a couple of new growths or new roots, whichever happens first. But once I see those new roots, regardless of the time of year, she's going to go ahead and get her repot, because this bark does need to be changed out, but I'm not going to change it until I see those new roots. Everybody let me know what you go get at the Orchid Supply Store, especially if you get an orchid. You know I love it when you guys enable me. See you on the next one.